Before we get started, I would like to introduce you to my collaboration partner in this video, the wonderful Mollie Westbrook. Like myself, she is a true crime content creator, and we have made not just one, but 2 videos together for the Summer of True Crime series. So once you have watched this video, go and check out our other video on Mollie's channel, which will be linked at the end of the episode and in the description box. Mollie's videos are impeccably researched and she does a phenomenal job with all of the cases she covers, and I encourage you all to go watch her content and subscribe to her channel. I would also like to personally thank Mollie for being a part of this collaboration. Without further ado, let's get into the case. On Sunday, the 1st of May 1994, 5-year-old Victor Shoemaker Jr. and his family gathered for a reunion on the outskirts of Short Mountain, located near Kirby in West Virginia. They had arrived at a caravan in a popular hunting ground, surrounded by towering oaks, twisted maples, bare pine trees and rugged terrain, which belonged to Victor's grandfather, Oscar Butch Wolford. It had been an idyllic spring morning with a beaming sun, light breeze and birds chirping in the woodland. Victor joined his 2 cousins, 8-year-old Lloyd Wolford and 9-year-old Tommy Martin, the trio setting out to hunt in the wilderness with their BB guns, something which the cousins had experienced regularly. Victor, who was known by his loved ones as JR, adored the woods and exploring. His grandfather recalled that he loved climbing trees and playing in creeks. The boys had been restricted to play within a certain area so that JR's parents could keep a watchful eye on them. Victor Shoemaker Sr., JR's father, was an apartment maintenance man in Leesburg, and his mother, Nettie, was employed as an assembly line worker at an electronics plant in Loudon. The couple had experienced trouble conceiving a child, and once they had JR on the 30th of March 1989, naturally they were fiercely protective of him. According to Lloyd and Tommy, at approximately 8:30 a.m, after being outside for 30 minutes, their young cousin complained that his stomach was gurgling with hunger. He then allegedly made his way back through the woods towards the trailer in order to get a snack. However, Tommy and Lloyd then lost sight of him. That was the last time that JR was seen alive.
And Tommy returned to their mobile home with Nettie greeting them, and her heart sank when she saw that not only was her son absent, but the cousins had their heads drooped, staring at the ground. She questioned them about the whereabouts of JR, however, all they could say was that he was up the woods. They said that they had parted ways at a certain area within the woods, however, this was found to have been incorrect, and the family wasted vital time searching in the wrong place. And after an hour of apprehensive waiting for the boy to return to his parents, the authorities were notified of his disappearance. Victor Dwight Shoemaker was last seen wearing red shorts, a red Bugs Bunny t-shirt and Looney Tunes shoes. However, other sources state that his footwear was white X-Men or Nickelodeon shoes. He was Caucasian, stood at about 4 feet tall, weighed 40 pounds, had blonde hair which was also listed as strawberry blonde hair, and also had blue eyes. And his vanishing was just a complete mystery to the family. This boy knew his way around the woods. He was very familiar with it, and he had always made his way back to the trailer before. He was noted as being a very intelligent and strong young boy. He loved video games, he loved imitating accents, and he also had a very good sense of direction, which made his disappearance even more baffling to the Shoemakers. Nellie just knew her son extremely well. JR was rarely ever seen without a smile on his face, and he was just always very friendly, even to people that he didn't know. And so because of this, Nellie was anxious that maybe JR had been lured away by a stranger. Once the police joined the searches for the 5-year-old, Tommy and Lloyd were able to pinpoint the exact place where they had last seen their cousin. And every single member of the family was subject to criminal background checks, and they were also required to partake in polygraph tests. The children, however, were given play therapy as well as a lie detector in the hope that some answers would be found. But every single person passed their test, and police uncovered no further clues to aid the investigation. However, it must be stated that any results from lie detectors must be taken with a pinch of salt, because obviously they're not 100% accurate. And chillingly, one of the cousins, when asked about what happened to the boy, said somebody hiding behind a tree got up and grabbed him or shot him.
Back in the initial search, which was hampered by treacherous and freezing conditions, volunteer firefighters, neighbours in the surrounding area and policemen scoured the woods, seeking clues. During the day, Victor Sr. asked for updates, but sadly there was no news. Searches continued for another day, the Assembly of God Church in Kirby serving as a 24-hour command post, with the local McDonald's restaurant contributing food and drink for the volunteers. By the 5th day, more than 400 volunteers from West Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. had joined the search. Under command of the Charlottesville-based Appalachian Search and Rescue Conference, hundreds of acres of land were searched, with helicopters using heat sensor imaging whilst navigating over the woodland. Divers searched ponds and creeks, and even children at local schools missed classes in order to look for J.R. Shoemaker. Over the weekends, in the 5 months after his disappearance, the National Guard and Army Reserve units spent training time searching for the child. The first search around Short Mountain in the mist and rain proved to be fruitless, and on the 3rd of May, the operation was called off after a volunteer named Lisa Hannon died after falling asleep at the wheel of her vehicle following a night in the woods looking for the boy. Nettie Shoemaker was convinced that Tommy and Lloyd were hiding something. When they arrived back to the trailer, they were out of sorts. Speaking with the Virginian Pilot in December of 1994, she stated, "I still say the two boys know something. I'm not saying they're guilty of anything. I'm saying they have to know something." Nettie remembers her son as someone who loved hot dogs, SpaghettiOs with meatballs, iced tea, and milk. He liked drawing animals and snowmen, and that he loved to cut up boxes and create cardboard houses. Everything runs through your mind from daylight to dark. You never stop thinking. We don't sleep. You cry yourself to sleep. We've been on that mountain with a fine tooth comb. We never found a piece of hair, a shoe, a footprint, nothing. And it rained that night. Nothing makes sense. Victor Sr. told the newspaper, "I'd just like to have him home right now. That's it."
So there are quite a few theories regarding the fate of Victor Shoemaker Jr., the first one being that he was the victim of a negligent hunter, despite the ban of hunting on the Sabbath of West Virginia. This theory, however, has more or less been ruled out because his body was never found. The second theory is that he could have perished by wandering off into the wilderness and getting lost and then dying as a result of exposure to the elements. There is even a theory that he was possibly taken by a wild animal such as a coyote or a reported wolf hybrids prowling in the Appalachians. But once again, it must be reiterated that no body was ever recovered despite thorough combing of the area and surroundings. Volunteers actually found an area where they thought JR may have slept, as there was a disturbed undergrowth with a circle of rocks and sticks planted in the centre. But other than that, there was no evidence to suggest that JR had even been there. There are also theories that he may have fallen into a crevice or an old mine. Of course, there is the theory that was put forward by Nettie Shoemaker that was supported by her husband Victor, that Lloyd and Tommy were somehow involved in this disappearance, but there is no evidence to actually support this claim, and it seems unlikely that that two boys aged 9 and 10 would lie about this situation. There is also a theory, which is backed by locals and the family, that JR was kidnapped. A sniffer dog actually traced JR's scent in the air through a field by the mountains towards a road where the scent suddenly ceased, indicating that perhaps he was carried into the vehicle of a potential kidnapper. Following the summer of 1994, with Nettie's suspicions of Tommy and Lloyd, the Shoemaker family and their extended family actually severed ties. Authorities said that they didn't suspect foul play in the case, yet the FBI were called in by the police, which suggested otherwise. In 1997, police released information regarding sightings of a 1990 dark blue pickup truck having been witnessed in the area at the time of the Shoemaker's disappearance. Yet the driver of this pickup truck has never been identified. And in 2014, authorities announced that they had exhausted all leads, leaving the case cold.
The aqua green trailer where the Shoemakers shared their final moments together as a family now lies abandoned, decaying in the woods by Short Mountain. Every weekend after their son's unexplained vanishing, the Shoemakers returned to the site, hoping to find answers. Nettie said to the Virginian Pilot newspaper, "Every time you go back, you feel close to him." No arrests were ever made, and police had no suspects. The National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children released 2 age progression images in the hope that someone may come forward with more information. However, as of June 2019, no further clues have come to light, and the case remains cold. Victor and Nettie spoke to the Washington Times in 2014 on the 20th anniversary of their son's disappearance, revealing that JR's bedroom remains just as he had left it, frozen in time. The couple remains hopeful that someone will come forward with information that will lead to the truth about what happened to their beloved son. "Something should ring a bell," said Victor. "That's what we're hoping for, is that miracle." Bob Lowry, the Vice President of the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, said, "We don't want to bring false hope, but there's always hope when it comes to missing children. This family for 20 years has been wanting answers, and they deserve those answers."